Hey, welcome to Sisters Unfiltered. We are so excited to be here today. We're back again after our fun little Christmas episode.
Yes. That was fun.
It was super fun. I forgot to delete the whole deer in our backyard thing, so sorry if anybody was listening and didn't see my reaction, which was even worse because I was like, oh. So anyways, but that's okay. We're going to overlook it since we're just, little old mom podcast. So anyways, but before we get going, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, anything you can. I think we have one person on YouTube who always likes it, and I don't know who that is, but I'm always so appreciative.
Well, our friend Lindsey texted me this week and was like, hey, how can I help y'all? Like, can I comment or share? And I was like, and she's like, how do you do it? And I was like, I said, let me ask Lindsey.
You were like, I don't even know. I think so. This is really bad, actually, that we did. This is how you need a producer. So, anyways, but if you know how to do it, go do it. If you don't, you can Google it.
Yeah, I should have Googled it.
Can you tell us that we're in our 40s?
I know.
This is what we did not grow up with.
So true.
So, today is so exciting because we have a guest, a special guest.
I love when we have guests. It's my favorite time on the podcast.
Yes, it is awesome. So we have a guest today, and this is Sammie Self, which is so crazy because we have a Sam Self and a Sammie Self. But there's gonna be a lot of Sams and Sammies in our in our life. But yeah, so we're so excited, excited. It was funny because Tyler was just here, and we pretty much told him that he was on the list to be a guest. And then we thought about Sammie, and we totally vetoed Tyler.
Yeah, he didn't seem too offended.
Yeah.
He gave me a high five. He dapped me up. I was like, all right, not too offended.
Yeah, so we were like, well, you're on the list. But then we thought about Sammie, so we were like, well, let's get Sammie first.
Yes.
So we know Tyler will come eventually. But anyways, we do plan to have him on there. But
so Tyler is my oldest son, so he is 24. And he just married Sammie. So Sammie's my daughter-in-law. So exciting.
So fun.
Just love adding girls to the family.
Yeah.
It's the best thing ever.
These guys are the reason that we had to keep so many secrets this summer.
Yes. If you listen to one of our first podcasts, it was our first one, I guess, of this second season. We talked about this, and a couple of people reached out to me and were like, okay, you guys got to go more into detail about this whole wedding and engagement and everything. And that's when we were like, we got to have Sammie on the podcast, because what better person to tell the story than you,
Here I am. So true.
Yes.
Here you are.
So, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Weddings, their story, whatever, wherever it leads us, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. And we always talk a lot when Sammie's around.
Yes.
Without Sammie around, and then with Sammie around, it's even more.
Which is where our story, I feel like, really begins.
Yes.
Because it started with us.
It started with us.
I don't know if that's... Well, I feel like it did.
Yeah, so let's go back to the beginning. Why not?
Yeah.
How did you and Tyler meet?
Okay, so we originally met in 2020. It was actually the week that, the whole world shut down.
Oh, like of COVID.
Yeah. So I was leading worship at a wave night, and then he had come in town, I think, with Jackson. And so we met backstage, just like briefly, and then we had the worship night. There is actually a picture of us. I don't know if you guys even know. There's a picture.
Know that.
I'm leading worship, and it's like a picture from the crowd, but he is like kind of like the photo. It's one of those little invisible strings. But we had like no romantic. Well, I didn't have any romantic thoughts or feelings or anything. And then, he went and did his thing for a few years. I was still at the church, and then I, moved away for a little bit to travel. And we got back at the same summer, and we became friends. Like, we weren't even really friends before that, but like we became friends that summer because I lived across the street from the Central Austin campus, and then y'all's family was populating the Central Austin campus.
We were.
And so that's how we, reconnected, but just as friends, and then, started hanging out in groups, and then it just evolved from there, and I feel like I was almost more... I don't know how to say this. I would say I would go to football games and stuff, and really became like besties with you guys.
Yeah.
Because we started talking about documentaries. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
That was our first real.
Because I went and watched something off. I think y'all gave me your Peacock
information.
I
gave you my Peacock logins.
So I watched this whole series because you told me about it. It was awesome.
Reagan and I, we were obsessed with it.
Yes.
So we were like, you have to watch it. And then I remember like Sam, it was one Sunday, again, like Tyler I think was still gone, like he was traveling or something.
Yeah.
And Sam needed some big sister advice, and so we sat in the auditorium like after everybody's just like, you know, talking, whatever, and we just kind of yapped, and who knew it was like a glimpse into the future.
I know. So I have to pause real quick and say, when I first heard about Sammie, I always tell this story.
Yeah.
So this was pre-2020.
Yeah.
And I don't, like, we've always kind of been connected to Celebration and definitely followed them on Instagram and everything. And I remember sitting in my living room and our boys were in there. I think they were like probably all high school. Grayson might have been in middle school.
Yeah.
And there was a picture of Sammie on the Instagram leading worship, and I remember the boys talking about like how hot she was. Isn't that funny?
Hilarious.
And I was like, oh, who is that? They're like, oh, this is Sammie Zavala, and she was worship at Celebration. And like that was the first.
Yeah, so
like we knew who you were.
I thought that
and
you
they
and Tyler
knew.
had met earlier because of that.
No, but I mean,
I didn't know that.
Didn't know who you were.
Yeah, he knew who you were because I knew who Sammie was.
Yeah.
Because it had to have been because y'all, because we came to Radiant Conference all those years. So
That's
like,
true too.
Like I had found old videos where it shows up for Radiant Conference and Sammie's leading, and I mean, we had no idea. I mean, this was this was back a long time ago. So like Mom was there when you would lead.
That is crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Mom would come to all those radio
And then I think
conferences.
too, there's, you know, the Christian circles in Austin are kind of tight, I would say. Like people know of other people.
They do,
And I feel like you and Tyler even had some mutual
people
that you knew, like along the way, you know. But so, you know, we started going to Central Austin campus. Tyler's kind of back and forth. You're there. And yeah, when I first like officially met you, I feel like we all hung out and talked. And I knew you and Tyler were like hanging out as friends.
Yeah.
But I was like, we never talked about Tyler.
Never.
Like,
that was the funny thing is it was never a topic of conversation. Like, even when we did, even after like our first date, we still like had this totally separate relationship outside of. As much as we all love him.
Yeah.
But we had our little group text with a little we're little cheesemans.
Yes.
Cheesemosas. And we do be yapping. And so, you know, it's actually funny. I found a text from 2 years ago, and Tyler told me, he was like, seeing you with my mom and aunt is like the funniest thing ever. Like he was like, I don't even know how to describe it. And I was like, no, I like am obsessed with them. I feel like I'm getting a glimpse into my future. Yeah. But I meant like that is totally how I'm gonna be when I have a mom and like an aunt. Like I'm just
not
with
thinking like you're gonna be a part of the family.
Literally. And so I was like, I feel like I'm totally getting like a glimpse into my future. You know what I mean? And he's like, no, I totally know what you mean. Well, we talked about it recently. He was like, I was legitimately talking about like, I see you in my future. I see you in my family in the future. And I was saying, because we weren't like, at this time, there wasn't like expression of liking each other.
Yes.
And so I was just thinking I was going to be just like y'all. And then now we're yapping on your podcast.
Here we are.
And I'm in your family. So
but okay, so going back to that, like I remember when I first thought like, I wonder if Tyler and Sammie like each other. Mm-hmm. But like, when did you feel like that was something like beyond a friendship with him?
Okay, so there was like the initial, you know what I mean? And I feel like obviously it was just like during the fall, and it was just like, oh, maybe not.
Because were y'all like hanging out in groups and then you started hanging out just you two, or like how did that evolve?
Yeah, kind of. It's like we were hanging out in groups, and then there would be like a couple of times where we found each other, like, and it's like us walking, or it's us, you know, doing this. And then I like was actually giving the story like a couple of days ago, and I'm like, I'm trying to remember the first time that it was like, I don't know, and I told Natasha was my first friend that I told about Tyler, and I was like, okay, you're gonna meet him, you're like, this is
and she didn't live here.
She didn't live here. Yeah, she lived in Dallas.
So you're like, it's a safe person.
Yeah. And so, but in December of that year, I think it was maybe like Dream Team Appreciation or something, where he like saw me and he was like, wait, like and whatever. And then we had talked, we went to, we had this group called the Soup Club, and we went to this place, this like pub in Georgetown, because we liked doing like different like Irish places. And we were leaving and we were walking back together, and we just like had this, I don't know, it was just like this I don't want to say like expression, but like basically, like, we can just like tell, and it's not just like a little flirtatious thing. We're like, wait, I think we like each other.
More,
And so then I went to a Christmas party, and like he obviously didn't come with me because that would have been like weird at that point, like him coming to a Christmas party with me. And then I think it was when he was at Wade's Christmas party was when he told you guys about it.
Yes, you're right.
Because it was, I don't know.
He didn't say like y'all were like liking each other or dating yet, but he said, that's when he said, I just wish Sammie was here.
I feel like there was a season where you guys would go and do like your individual things, but then you would like meet up after.
Yeah.
So it was like funny, like you would like go to your party or his thing.
Yeah.
And then it was like all y'all were thinking was like, well, I want to just see Sammie or I want to see Tyler. Like,
that just like, I forgot, it was a Lake Travis football game. So we would always like, we wouldn't go together. We would just like go separately. Well, then I had a friend in town and they were doing something like for work. And so we were like, because I loved going to the football game, like I became like a real Go Cavs Travis fan. And
like Travis' mom.
Yes, Travis' mom. I like forgot about all this. And then like Nathan and Marie were going to a game when that was raining. I think it was maybe.
It was
I remember that.
Yes, and so we, like, he asked me if I wanted to ride to the game together, like with him. And I was like, yeah, sure. And so we ended up like going to some restaurant, I don't know. It was a place, and there was like a bunch of people around there, and we went together. And that was like one of our first times, like going somewhere. So we were like, oh, that's interesting. Like,
I think we were thinking, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because Nathan Marie got there before y'all. We were like, where's Tyler? Oh, Sammie's coming. Oh, Tyler and Sammie.
Yeah. And we, But it was fun, because even like, it's like we did, but then like he even sat on like another like bench. Then I don't know. It's just one of those things where
I think you sat with us, and he sat
in front of us. There's like pictures of it. So it was one of those things where I think it's like, oh, this could be not weird, but you kind of just don't want to like mess up like a friendship and all,
for sure.
So, and when you like know families, and you go to church together, and all these friends.
Yeah, we're like,
I just am saying that Tyler said, I never got to say fully what he said that day. He was like,
at the Christmas party.
At the Christmas party. He was like, I just wish Sammie was here. He was like, I just feel so much better and so much more peace when she's here. And I was like, wait a minute.
You're like, that's not what a friend said.
That's like what someone says about their wife. I was like, because y'all were dating, and I was like, what? I was like, hang on. I'm like, we need to hang right back here and have this conversation. But then he had to go lead his whole karaoke thing that he did.
Because it really was too, I know but it really was funny because even when we first became like friends we were like chatting consistently, he was like, oh my gosh, my family's always talking about who can we hook you up with, and I was like, oh my gosh, well, like, let me know, like
they're having a few of those conversations, like we're like, why does Sammie not have a boyfriend, like, you know, like who do we know that she might like, you know, like that kind of thing. And then we had the very awkward conversation here at Lindsey's where Jeremy, my husband, was just like, somehow he did not get the picture that Sammie and Tyler might like each other, and he was asking Sammie like all kinds of questions like, what's your type? Have you ever had a boyfriend before?
We were at that table.
When?
So like, what's your type? Like, who are you? And I think it was maybe right after, because he asked me on we went on our first official date, New Year's Eve. Of 2023. We did go to, I don't know if you guys even know this, we went to dinner one time, and it was like not a date, but it was like kind of like it was giving, but he didn't say, hey, like
it's a date.
But the whole time he was talking about like you could just tell like he's not ready to date, and so I Venmo'd him for half of dinner, and I said this wasn't a date. So
we're like, just officially,
just to like make it like this wasn't a date. And so then he asked me on our first like official date on New Year's Eve of 2023.
Were you, so like Lindsey and I have talked about this in our dating episodes before, but like were you thinking like, were you like in the mode of like, I'm gonna date for marriage kind of thing?
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah. For sure. And so I think that's part of why, which is so silly, but like I think that's part of why I was like, okay, we're like both of us aren't gonna just like date around. And so if we decide to do this, then it's kind of serious.
Like we're gonna do it.
And so I think we're just like, we wanna make sure, but that's like dating. You know what I mean? We were dating before we made it official because we went on our first date and there was some, stuff that happened in between. Yeah. And then we officially started dating.
Did you have like a moment where you were like, he's the one?
Well, we officially started dating in June.
And is this awkward? I'm the one asking these questions. No. Officially. You're like, my mother-in-law's the one asking me.
So first date, New Year's Eve, then some stuff in between.
Yes.
Then official boyfriend, girlfriend.
Yes. And because there was like a period of time where it was like, I'm not sure if this is, either the right time for it or maybe it's not. And that's the first time we had ever talked about Tyler because there was, some
we had not even, that's right.
Yes, and I remember we were like at the Central Austin campus and I was just like, I know we don't really talk about Tyler, but I just cared about him a lot. But there was just some stuff where it's like, you can't go into a relationship with this. And so I was just like, I told him, I said, I want the best for you and I care about you, but like don't involve me romantically, unless you're in this place of full pursuit, and that's okay. Like I don't care. Not that I don't care either way, but I was just like,
you'd rather know then.
Right. And so then that's when he just like went. We just had to have some really honest conversations, and then it was like felt like he was like, I don't know. It turned into this like he was really just serious in pursuing me. And then in June, he had asked me a few times to be his girlfriend, and I was like, but third time, did y'all know that? Third time's a charm. And I said, yes. Third time's a charm. I was like, I just really want to make sure. And when our first, you guys went to the beach, I went to Mexico for a wedding, and then when we came back, it's like I knew I was going to say yes, but we just wanted to see when we're apart for that long, in different places, what does that look like? And I was at a wedding, and it's funny that it's both of the moments of when I was like, okay, I'm ready to date, I guess. I was at this wedding, and I'm seeing all these seeing the couple and they're saying their vows and everything, and I'm just here, and I remember thinking I could see this happening with Tyler one day, and I was like, okay, well then I'm even if I don't know that I'm ready to get married tomorrow, I know that I can picture this with him, and so I was like, yes, I'm ready to date him. And so we had our date. He drove from the beach to my place, and we had a dinner, and he because we knew that he was going to ask me to be his girlfriend, and it sounds so silly, but he wrote me this letter, and it was vows for dating. Aww. And just the things that he vowed to protect and to do when we were dating, and he did all of those things, and so it was just a really cool process. And then it was another wedding in the fall, was at Sam's wedding, when we were driving home, and I cry every time I talk about this, but maybe I won't right now. But we were driving home, and this song came on, and I just remember, because it was obviously beautiful, seeing Sam and Eden get married. But I just the song came on, and I just remember thinking oh my gosh, what would I ever do if Tyler died? Which is so probably it's so intense. But I just started sobbing. We weren't even talking. I just started. He's like, are you okay? What's wrong? And I was like, I just can't picture my life without you. Yeah. And that's what it was. Yeah. I just can't, not just dying, but literally I just can't picture me without you anymore. And I just I love him. Yeah. And so that's when I was like, okay, this is probably gonna happen. Yeah.
How are you? Do you remember when you were Derek's the one?
Oh yeah, I knew so fast.
I'm more of a
3 months in. Yeah. Less than probably 3 months in, and I was like, oh yeah, he's the one. But I mean, it's I was 18, 19. I do think that there's a big difference between being a little bit older in the years and what you've seen and in relationships or experience. I think you should process a little bit more when you're older. I was young, naive. I never had Derek's my only boyfriend. I was Derek's only girlfriend. We've never kissed anyone else. It's just a little different. I just think there's a little bit more. It's just different. Yeah. It's just different. I think that the older you get, the more you see. And it's just, you want to be very, also the dynamics. I do agree that y'all's dynamics, both being on staff at a church, both you at a church you've been at forever. I don't know. You just got to be careful.
Totally.
Does that make sense? You just have to be real sensitive to that, because it could, in his whole entire family being there and just coming, and then I don't know, I would be more sensitive and apprehensive to that myself. I mean, too.
Yeah. It's true. If it would have gone south, luckily it didn't, and we're all,
And we would have made it work. Obviously, we're mature enough to not let that affect us. But you do have to be.
Deal with that.
Yeah.
You don't. And so I do think it's a lot harder to just jump the gun.
Totally.
When you're a little bit older than 18.
Yeah, true. Yeah. You're a little bit naive.
You're just more naive.
Yeah.
Good thing it's worked out for us.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you guys obviously were like, this was intention of marriage or whatever. When did y'all start talking about that? Because really I want to get to the point of you guys getting engaged and getting married, because it's just such a, I mean, maybe it's not unique anymore. People do it so many different ways.
Totally. Yeah.
But it is a fun engagement and wedding story.
Yeah.
So when did y'all start talking about hey, we're gonna get married? What's the timing look like?
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
It is funny though, because it was such a slow burn on the front end, and
right?
Then it's so super fast. I'm like, we're gonna just kind of balance somewhere in the face.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly. I think once we kind of knew, I guess we talked about it, and then I remember in the spring, because my brother was also getting married this year, and I was like, well, I need to warn my family that, hey, I think we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
So probably just prepare for a fall wedding, and so I kind of knew that we'd probably get married in the fall. But then the summer happened, and the summer went on, and I still wasn't engaged, and I was like, okay, probably spring 2026.
Time out really quick. Did you already know, though, at that point that you thought it might be destination wedding?
Yes.
The reason why I say that is because you warned your family.
Yes.
Because that, to me, is the difference. It's if someone's just getting married, it's not as big of a deal.
Yeah. Yes. So I always wanted not always, but within the last, since I started attending destination weddings, I was like, I want to have a destination wedding, because if I got married here, it'd have to be a 450 person wedding, and that's expensive.
Yeah.
And so I just after being at a few destination weddings, I'm I would love to do not necessarily an elopement, but one with 100 people instead of,
Yeah.
And so, but my brother also, he decided to have a destination wedding as well.
Yeah.
In the fall, they decided to set their wedding date before I was engaged.
Right.
And so it kind of was, I don't know.
So, and I think you're working around that as well, which is also happens with people, right? You're working around when are we getting married, if it's destination, if it's not. So you guys had kind of been talking about those different scenarios.
Yes.
But then it's hard to talk about when you don't have a ring on your finger yet.
Exactly. Yeah. And I remember we even told you guys, in the future, just so you know, we're probably gonna do Mexico or the Caribbean or something like that. But that's more what I was saying or thinking of when I said destination wedding.
Yeah.
Which is it's just easier to get to.
Yeah.
We talked about it at the beach.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too.
Because Wade was hilarious.
It was really us three. I think you really might have been there, and Wade. And Tyler. We were all sitting on the beach.
We were all on the beach. Yeah. And we had multiple different conversations about it. But one thing about the destination wedding part was Tyler was like, okay, I think that I might do, we probably will do a destination. This was before we knew anything about Italy. It wasn't even on the table. And so he was like, we'll probably do a destination wedding. And Wade was like, well, when do you think? And he was probably January. Wade was like, sign me up. I will go to Mexico in January. He was like, we will be there.
Yeah.
You cannot. It was just really funny.
But we were also what do you, Tyler, time to get the ring.
Oh yeah, we did.
He hadn't ordered it.
No,
at that point.
Not yet.
Yes.
No, we put some pressure on.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. And that was in June?
Yes.
Yeah, last week in May.
Last week in May. Yeah.
Okay, and what's funny is another thing. Well, I don't know if you guys have talked about this on the podcast before, but for family vacations, the only way someone can come, and this is something we talked about before me and Tyler ever had a thing, because we were talking about how, I agree, we should wait till people are engaged to get on family vacation. So that was a thing with you guys.
Yes.
So Tyler was like, well, I'm planning on proposing before family vacation because I really want you to go.
Yes. And I think we were even saying, we want Sammie to go, but our rule.
Yes.
You have to be engaged.
You have to be engaged. Yes.
Yes, so I was kind of not expecting it, but that was a part of the conversation, and so, but then it didn't happen.
Well, let me just say, he had not even ordered the ring. Yeah. So we put some pressure on because we were like, Tyler, because Tyler's just laid back. It's not because he might not want something, it's because he's just laid back. Yeah. And Wade was hilarious about that too.
Yeah.
And just kind of encouraging him to get the ring.
How long was your engagement till your wedding?
I think it was like a month and 3 days.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
I think I got engaged on the 20th.
You did, end of July, right?
Yeah. And then we got married on August 29th.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so you knew you guys were going to be getting engaged, obviously.
Yes.
What were your thoughts about like your engagement and everything?
Well, once we got to a certain point, because the Italy thing, it did come up before the engagement, but we just so yes, which is a part of the story. So I was like, surely he's proposing soon, I hope.
Yeah.
And it just like then we had conference, then we did this, and I'm like, okay, this is the only week. It's like it's got to be this week.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was during wait, I had a text from. Like my group of friends that I like hang out with, but we don't hang out with like every day. It's like we'll go get dinner and stuff. So they're like, I miss you guys. Let's get dinner and this and this and that. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, we'll do it next week. And I didn't think anything of it at that point. And then I got a text that said, let's change it to Monday. Like, any chance you guys can do Monday or Tuesday or whatever? And I was like, I think I'm getting engaged on Tuesday. I was like, I pick up on everything. So I kind of always had a feeling because I really do. Like, I feel like I just pick up on everything. Is really surprising.
And you had to get engaged.
Yes.
So Sammie and Tyler got married in Italy. We talked about that on the podcast before. But you guys knew that was the plan, getting married in Italy when you got engaged. So you were already having to kind of plan things, yet you're waiting on this engagement to happen.
Yes.
People didn't really, not a lot of people knew at all.
No.
Yeah, that this was all happening.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes. So essentially the process of it, I was going to Italy for work, and then Tyler got invited to go to Italy for another work thing, same church obviously, but another work thing the week prior to when I'm going to be there. So then Pastor Lori, who is she's strategic. She is. She's like, well, if he's gonna already be over there to lead worship at the student camp, let's just like have him stay over and lead worship at Strong Church. And so we're like, cool, awesome, sounds good. Well, Johanna, who was she's in charge of coordinating, she ends up inviting Tyler to go. But she has a conversation. I'm not even a part of the conversation. And she told him that Pastor Lori had pitched this idea. Hadn't even talked to me yet, but had this idea if we were to go over there and Tyler and Sammie were both there, because they kind of just knew the dynamics when it came to having a wedding here and logistically and schedule and everything.
And you weren't totally sold on Mexico. You had talked about that a little bit, but you weren't sold on it.
Yes. Yeah. And so anyway, she was like, what would it look like, for them to have a wedding over? Like, do you guys think that would work? And Johanna's like, well, his family they're very close, so I think that they would want to be there, but I can talk to him. So of course, it doesn't come to me. Invite Tyler to come and was like, hey, also while you guys are over there, if you wanted to get married, we can, since your flights are already paid for work, we can make it work. And then Tyler comes to me and I was like, wait, what? I was like, huh? I was like, Pastor Lori had this idea? It wasn't even on my brain. Yeah. Maybe. I'm like, oh, let's just run away and go, joking.
Yes.
Yeah. Not actually. And so he was like, so I'm going to, talk to my family. What do you think about it? And I was like, well, if, my family and Phoebe, I'm then maybe. And so anyways.
And that means it's going to happen quick.
Yes. Because at that point, I think it was, 6 weeks out.
Yes.
I could check the times, but it was 6 weeks out to when we would be there. And so I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe. So, And then he started having a conversation with you guys. Yeah. Which, you can talk about that if you want.
He didn't really invite me. I just was like, I'm going to be there.
Yeah. No, you remember we were at Christian Acevedo's birthday party.
Yes.
And I was sitting at a different part of the table, and you guys told Derek, and I didn't know about it. And then I came over there and y'all said it. And I go, well, we'll come. And you were like, wait, what? First of all, you did not invite me either. I was like, well, we're not going to miss it. Yeah. I was like, for sure we'll come. I said, also Papa and Sharon will come too.
Yeah. And I was like,
and so you were like, really? And I was like, yes. I was like, for sure we're going to come.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So when you warmed up to that day and you're like, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Like you finally were like, this seems like best case scenario. I mean, like, what was your thought process?
It was because I am, like, I know it's obviously more about the marriage than it is about the wedding. And of course, it's like, I've always dreamed of like a big, beautiful, you know, wedding with everybody that I could ever imagine. Not really, but like, then it's like, you know, okay, well, but I'm going to do this destination wedding and we're going to plan it. It's going to be great and awesome. But then also just like being around so many weddings and being in so many weddings, you realize how expensive it is.
So expensive.
You know, I just didn't know what was going to be possible, like for me to have anyways, even in, you know, the spring or whatever. So I was like, I need to talk to my family too. And, you know, because I just didn't know if they were going to be able to go. So it was just one of those things where I was like, I just want to talk to them. And I had a conversation with my sister, who was like my, you know, best friend. And I just told her, I was like, I'm having a hard time with it because I can't imagine doing that without you there. But I knew that she probably wouldn't be able to go. And we just like were sitting in the kitchen crying, and she was like, no, she's like, I like want you, like you should do this, because everyone else, I'm thinking like, I'm not gonna get ready with my like sisters, my best friends, and you know, they're not gonna be there, and that's just gonna be so sad for me, and my, you know, so it was just one of those things where I was like, that is making me sad, but everyone's like, Italy, like it's Italy, this is crazy, this is amazing. So they're honestly like, I think probably everyone is like, oh, it probably wasn't a second thought, you didn't think about anything else, but it was like honestly a time of like tension for me, and I just wasn't sure. And so that was kind of a weird dynamic to it, where it's like I want to be really excited for this, but I'm also like kind of mourning what I like imagined it would be. And not that anyone was like, you aren't going to be able to like get married in the spring and have a wedding that you want, but I just wasn't sure. You know, I just wasn't sure.
Yeah. And there were some things after in the fall, like that you and Tyler had planned, that just, there were a lot of factors that went into it that kind of, it just logically also made sense. Yeah, to go ahead and get married, you know? Totally. But I could see how that was a hard time. And I know somebody might be like, oh my gosh, you got married in Italy. Like, what are you even pausing for? Right. But I think you have to consider all the people, all the things, you know.
So the line of events was, that conversation was when you found out about that. Because that was it June? June?
Was it June? I don't know.
I think it was June. Because I think Christian's birthday was in June. It was right before that. So that was already on the table before. I'm just making sure people understand. Because that was a conversation. You almost had to make the decision kind of before y'all got engaged.
Yes, we did. We did. And then it was, once I had a conversation with my sister, I texted Tyler and I was like, okay, let's do it. And because she also was like, obviously I'll like try, like look into everything and see if I can or whatever. Yeah. And then also Phoebe, who's been my like childhood best friend like since I was in 5th grade, she's like, oh yeah, of course I'll be there. Yeah. And it's funny, like we had joked about that the last couple of, she was like, if you told me like, hey, and this is before I even knew I was going to Italy for work. She's like, if you know, told me you're like, hey, I'm getting married in Italy tomorrow, she was like, I don't care what I would have to do. And Trey would just have to be okay. I'm maxing out credit card. I've got to do it. Not saying that she had to, but she literally was saying she was like, I'll be there. So, you know, so then I really was like, I have to call your bluff right now. Because I'm like, I think I'm going to do this. She's like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah. Like, it was just one of those, like, obviously I'll be there type things. And so then we, like, made the decision. Yeah. I think it was mid-July, maybe? Or no.
It was before you, well, yeah, maybe.
I mean, I felt like it was right
before they got engaged.
But just, like, shortly before.
I think we got flights right before y'all got engaged.
Maybe a week or two before you got engaged, it was like, okay, we're doing this thing. We're going to do the Italy thing, you know? And I think you do make those decisions sometimes in life, and especially big things like that, and you're like, I would love for everyone to be there, but it's okay. Like, whoever's there, awesome. If not, and we're going to get to this. You guys are going to have a big party soon where everybody's going to get to go. But what were some challenges in, like, also maybe the beauty of planning, going from engaged to wedding in 6 weeks in a different country, or whatever, a month, actually 4 weeks maybe.
I think the biggest challenge is, like, it was like kind of what I was talking about, like the tension of like, wait, should we do this? But like these people can. It was.
And
like,
on the other hand, Tyler, I don't even think he had to pause for 2 seconds. He was just like, I'm in, let's do this. Which I do find that guys are more let's just get married. They're just ready to get married.
Totally. So there was like, I think the fact that I was planning, if I'm just being like super real, is that I was planning this like, what would be like a dream wedding for like most people, and for me too, but I was planning this thing, but I was also kind of like sad at the same time.
Yeah.
But I don't know, that sounds so dramatic. I wasn't sad the whole time, but I was just like,
I know what you mean.
It was just a tension. It was
you're kind of grieving what you thought you were going to have. That's really what it is.
Yes.
And it's not that you didn't want what you were going to have. One, you didn't know what to expect.
Right.
Yeah. So there's that.
Yeah.
So you didn't know what you were going to have because you are planning an international wedding somewhere else.
Yeah.
And you're also grieving the fact that you know for that moment that it's going to be a very small group of people.
Yes.
And
no matter who can come or not,
that's
you know
right.
it's going to be.
You know it's going to be very small. So to me, there's grief in that. And I do think it's easy to start second guessing yourself.
Yeah, totally.
So you're just kind of having the tension of those emotions,
and then you're like, but I have to
that.
get a dress, I have to get a venue.
Yes.
You're squeezing it in between some work things.
Totally.
You know?
I think too, like the way I grew up was probably like has to do with this, but I'm like, okay, that is so nice. They're letting us do this on a work trip, but I have to like work too. And like that's the focus, and I want to put that first and foremost. Whereas like when you're planning a wedding, typically you want to be like, this is my only,
this is it.
But and I think it's normal for people to be working full-time jobs and playing at the same time.
But it is a very unique situation.
Yes, but it was the fact that it's happening like it's a work planning, like that has a lot of planning logistics, and then also a wedding. So I was trying to like keep the balance of that because I didn't want anyone else to feel like burdened. But then, and it's also hard because you can't really, it's not like, you have all this time and people are like having fun little wedding planning parties. Having a coordinator.
Right.
Like, what should I do? So
because I don't think we said the big thing. Most people did not know you were getting married in Italy.
Yes.
That was that was a hard one.
This was a secret for the most part.
Right. And people are like, why did you even keep it a secret? I think it's because it was something that was happening so fast. It was something that I knew that this wasn't my biggest factor, but I knew people like might have opinions about it or might try to convince me otherwise. I just was like, this is such because it's happening so quickly and also just in a different way. Like I wanted to keep it, not so much like a top secret, but more like intimate. Right. And I just didn't want to have to, it was pretty overwhelming with all the logistics that went into it. And also like just with family stuff and whatever. I was like, I just would rather like have it here and then we can announce it when we're ready.
And you're already managing a lot of emotions, and the more people that know and have, like you said, opinions about it, then you sort of feel the burden of managing that as well. Right. And that would have been really hard.
Yes. Yeah. And it was even with like the small group that we had, it was kind of like it was hard to manage. So there was that side of it, but also logistically, because then again, I also don't want to be like, oh, what was me? I have to get married in Italy. Right. So I feel like I can't really like talk about it with everyone. And then there was one day at work and I had a full-on breakdown, and sweet Ashley here. It was just so sweet. But this was a day, which it sounds probably crazy, but I was just so overwhelmed and I didn't know how to like process all of it, and I felt like kind of alone. Yeah. And again, because I don't want it to seem like I want, anyone to be like, oh, like she's getting married in Italy and she's like crying. Like it was just this really weird thing. And so, but then I finally like broke because you can't do that forever. And I remember that day I was also like flying out for something. It was for like a work project. And I was doing a lot of things and working, but I was really overwhelmed. And Tyler, like on that day, he was just like exactly what I needed as far as just like the breath and the stability. And he could have easily gotten really annoyed with me and frustrated and just like, get over it. Like, you're just making this huge amount. And he was just like a rock that day. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I think that if we wouldn't have had this scenario, not that I wouldn't have seen it obviously in other instances, but it was like, okay, I'm just like ready to marry him because this is like who I'm supposed to be with, and this is like a glimpse into like our whole lives and how he's gonna be when he's a dad, and then you texted me the same day and you were just like, hey, like I'm so sorry that you're feeling this and you're so overwhelmed, but like how can I help you, like give me something to do. And I was like, and that is my mother-in-law, and so it was just this like within all the chaos there was this day, even when I like broke down, where I was like, okay, like this is gonna be okay, even if we like get pizza and like go out on a balcony somewhere, whatever, like it's all gonna work out. And so, but logistically it was pretty difficult because I don't speak Italian.
What?
Contrary to popular belief. And also, I don't know if everyone knows this, but they, like Italy, it might be all of Europe, but specifically I know in Italy, there's like a vacation that like everybody, like it's like no one is working.
Yes.
It's beautiful, honestly. I wish we did it here.
Yeah.
But like businesses aren't open, you can't get calls through to anyone, vendors, anything. It's like impossible.
And that in itself can be frustrating.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so
at that same time, time is ticking.
Right.
So it was that was when you were planning, was during that time.
Yes. And I just like felt like I couldn't get answers. I couldn't get like what prices.
Yeah, and you're trying to stay within a budget.
Yes.
It's not like you could just call and say, yeah, great.
Right.
It's gonna I'm not trying to stay in a budget. I'm trying to stay in a budget.
So I will say, if you have like an unlimited budget, I feel like going to Italy, like you can plan it if you're getting married here,
right.
If you have an unlimited budget,
yes,
easy.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
And
that's not most people.
No.
That's not the case for most people.
So we were trying to find a place that we can just do it at, because the hotel that we were originally staying at, it was like there was so many things logistically where it's like, but then we're gonna have to extend it, but do they have the rooms? But we couldn't get an answer on if they had rooms because everybody was on vacation. So it was just all of these different things. So I was just like super overwhelmed. So you started emailing people, but you guys on the flip side were like, listen, even if this wedding doesn't happen, we're going to Italy and we're vacationing. And you guys booked your hotel before we booked the venue.
Yes.
And knew exactly where we would be. And so when, I like looked up your hotel on a map and you had reached out to them and they were like, we're open to it. I, had seen a video of this hotel right next to you guys. I was like, this is so stunning. I wonder if they like host small weddings, because also a lot of places are like, you have to have, 100 people or whatever. So I like reached out to this hotel, not available. Reached out there, like, but asked our sister hotels, second sister hotel, unavailable. Third one emailed me back and is like, we have availability that day and like we'd be happy to do it. Mm-hmm. So then we start emailing back and forth, getting prices, this and that, and I was like, okay, I think this is like our best option. But then there was another place, which thank God, this is the craziest thing about the whole wedding planning thing. We had never been there before.
Yeah.
And so we didn't understand.
None of us have ever been there. Yeah.
We didn't understand how far everything was. So we're like, okay, if we stay here in Caserta, we can get, there's this venue in Caserta that's giving us a great deal, but come to find out it's like 45 minutes even farther north, which from Sorrento, which is where we're going for the work thing. Right. It was like 3 hours. Right. 3 hours in Italy is very different than 3 hours driving here to Dallas. Yeah. Like it was just crazy. Those logistics. So we actually, like, once we found this place, and then I looked up another hotel, because, like, would everybody be able to stay at another hotel, like, down the way? And literally the only hotel that had any availability for the amount of people that were coming was, like, right across the street from the venue, and like in walking distance to you guys. So it was this crazy thing, and I'm like, okay, I think this is like what we're supposed to do. Yeah. And so we started talking to Sabrina at the Grand Hotel in Bastille, and we were like, we're feeling pretty good about it. But again, it's like the communication is just, it's a little hard. Yeah. And they're sending pictures, and one thing about Italy is that it can be the most beautiful place, the most beautiful thing. The pictures don't describe it.
Yeah, no, that's so true.
I agree with that.
It's so crazy. So I was just like, okay, we're about to spend all this money. Or like Tyler has to call and like send a wire over, and I'm like, this could be the cheese. So then I get to the point, I just am like very overwhelmed in like everything, and I was like, we're about to spend, all this money, which is like nothing compared to what we would have spent here, but still, it's like we're spending this, and is it just gonna be like the cheesy thing? I wish we would have just, and we're like, all right, we just got to do it. So we paid like a week. Yes, before the wedding. 2 weeks before the wedding. We walked it in. Yeah, walked it in, and because the only thing that up to this point that I had was my wedding dress. Yes, which I got. I don't know if people know this. I got my wedding dress before I was engaged. Yes.
Because Sammie invited me to come. I was like, hey, I'm here for it. Let's go. Because one thing I also knew that I wanted, I was like, if we do this, I don't want to have to just like go get a, not that there's anything wrong with it, but for me, I was like, I just don't, that's what I did for like my prom dress and my, one of my years. You wanted that experience. I wanted to be able to actually wear a white dress and not just like go to Target and get a white dress.
Yes, for sure.
And so I texted my friend London, who works at this bridal shop in Georgetown, and I was like, what are the do you think, she's like, okay, let's get you an appointment on Monday, come in, we'll get you something, and then this person can get alterations done, and they did it. Yeah. I went in, got a dress, and my alterations lady, Julie, if you're listening, you're incredible. She was like, how do you guys put too much stress on me and your short timelines and blah, 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 blah. And then she texted me like 2 days later. She's like, your dress is done. I was like, all right.
And she was like, bring your suitcase.
Yes.
Because I'm going to pack it the way that it needs to be packed.
She was like, you're not carrying a garment bag around. You're not checking it. You're not mailing it. She was like, once it's done, bring me your suitcase. And she got this. You've seen
it. If
you haven't seen it, go over it. It's like this long train, A-line, poofy dress.
You're not talking about just
like a little sleek little dress. It was like
it was, and she fit it in my carry-on.
Yeah, and she was like, "What? You got to seam all 3 layers when you get there." Yeah. So honestly, like and we're gonna get to the part with the wedding and all that kind of stuff. We'll probably have to. This will be part 1, but really. It was so cool to see how so many things worked out for your favorite and actually even beyond. I feel like what you could imagine, like the dress and like speaking of the dress, you had a different thought in mind for the dress, right? That you wanted, and you went just like a different direction than you thought, and just how all that worked out, you know, is so cool. But on part 2, I want to get to the wedding day, have some questions about that, and then just talk about weddings in general for. You know, these days, this generation, very different than our generation when we got married. But do we want to end part 1 with the question of the week, or do we want to just wait for that for the next part?
Let's do question of the week part 2.
Okay, great.
Because that way we can end this.
Okay.
Be excited.
Yeah, so you'll have to wait a week.
You have to wait a week, but you get to hear part 2 in a week.
Yes.
And we'll talk about how it all came together.
Yes.
And it just crazy. It's actually mind-blowing. So, and if anybody has seen pictures, they already know this, but yeah, it's amazing. So, all right, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.